All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. And hopefully you can hear me all. If there's any problems with the sound, please let me know. I know you usually do. Thanks for tuning in. We're live on Rockfin, YouTube, call in. You like the new intro music? Thanks, JA. Well, I'm actually going to, I'm actually working. I'm going to change it. It's actually an earlier version of a song that is on my new record, even though the song is not released yet. It's registered with all the streaming services already, so they're already picking it up and giving me like not copyright strikes, but they're YouTube is already flagging all my videos because of that song. So I'm going to change it. I gotta change it. So we're gonna have something different for the intro, just that will not be on anybody's radar except for our radar. Okay. We're all here. Gang's all here. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Let's cover a bunch of things. So the Burning Man thing has really become a thing. We're not going to get there yet. We're almost there. We're going to start with something different. But this is really sad, horrific, and just crazy ironic. You know how there's these videos of people doing these insane firework filled baby gender reveal? I mean, I know it's exciting. I know you're excited to have a baby, but come on, man. You don't need to like set off a bunch of fireworks and have this, I don't know. You could just chill out and have a baby. You do a gender reveal by email or something. Hey, it's boy. Or hey, it's cool, have some friends over and have a little, we're going to have some cheese and some crackers and some wine and a baby reveal, and that'll be fun. But like people have just lost their minds. They have lost their freaking minds with the overdoing of the things. So these people are doing a gender reveal and they're having a plane fly over their gender reveal, and the plane, like to spread pink dust. I'm guessing it's a girl. And this plane folds. This is horrific. This is just super horrific, and a good, just another great example of what, how humans are doing it wrong. It's a very short video, but I mean, you saw it. I don't know. And so we're gonna, yeah. So, the plane did crash. Absolutely did crash. The wing just folded off basically, but so the real news, not the real news, but the big news over the last 24 hours is how Burning Man has become an absolute disaster. I mean, they literally declared a national emergency over people being trapped at Burning Man. But remember this? This was from a few days ago. This is, I don't know. This is what kind of ironic, poetic justice this is. Again, nobody wishes harm on other people. Nobody wishes for people to meet their death or their doom, due to anything. But this is, a really fine example of like where we're going on this planet. Anyways, a few days ago, there was a video of Nevada Rangers driving directly into a blockade set up by climate protesters on a road leading to Burning Man. They were demanding that Burning Man ban private jets and single-use plastics. This is not. There are several takes on this video. One of them is from a more right-leaning person on Twitter who was like, "Yeah, arrest, get them and arrest them. Arrest these climate protesters. They're, right? This is what they deserve." Basically saying they're stupid, they're ridiculous, climate change is false. Go arrest them. That's what they get for being. And we've been talking about people going out to these festivals and just what an absolute. I mean, come on, it's 2023. The world is literally on fire or underwater, and it's time to consider. It's time to consider what we're all doing collectively on this planet. We have to take the partying down a notch. Just because you got it, you got to go do it and go get it and have it and gender reveal it and Burning Man it. Just because you got it. No, no more of that. We have to stop. We have to stop this madness. We won't, though. We won't. So that was from a few days ago. And this is from literally the last 24 hours. I'm getting ahead of myself with my commentary. Burning Man Festival declares national emergency as over 73,000 campers are trapped. All right, alternative journalists. Hello, all the alternative journalists out there. Are you covering this? I see no one covering this. I see not one alternative, news source out there going, "Hey, what about Burning Man?" Why? Because it messes up your whole narrative there, doesn't it? It's not on your viewfinder, isn't it? Currently, more than 73,000 festival attendees and campers are trapped with no access in or out of Burning Man Festival that takes place in Black Rock City, Nevada. The situation has arisen after a heavy overnight rainstorm transformed the once dry, dusty desert into an undrivable mud pit, causing disastrous conditions. Festival goers have been asked to shelter in place and conserve food and water due to the poor conditions. Travelers were informed that Burning Man Festival is closed, and anyone heading to the festival will be turned away as a national emergency has been declared at the festival. Yeah. And I had a response for the lady that was like, "Arrest those climate change protesters." Yeah, I was like, guess you're the stupid one. Because that's what you're going to get with some climate change is get your butt kicked up and down. Here's a pretty good rant from this guy about this situation. This guy's name is Perlman. I don't know his first name, but anyways, here we go. Let's watch this.
70,000 white women with dreadlocks are currently trapped in a dry lake bed due to flooding. That's the only way. What if I did it like that? I think this is the best way to open, right? Because who the fuck? They're like, no, Burning Man is actually about self-sufficiency and how you can survive. Look at me surviving Burning Man in my fucking home. I don't have to travel to the middle of a dry lake bed in fucking Nevada desert to build a temporary city when we're in the middle of a fucking homelessness crisis. I also had to sit in a long line of traffic, a mile deep, that was caused by climate protesters blocking the single fucking road in and out of the goddamn festival. And why were they blocking it? To fucking protest the amount of fucking carbon being dumped into the atmosphere by a bunch of fucking tech bros driving out to the middle of the fucking Nevada desert to set up their fucking RVs so they can take ayahuasca and fuck each other. You can do that at home, Greg and Barry and Moonbeam and whatever else you fucking Caucasian dreadlock dipshits. Oh, but I have my bicycle. You're in the fucking desert. You're not supposed to be there. It's in an extinct fucking lake. And now it's flooded. Why? Because of the fucking climate change, you morons. That's right. And that's why one of you assholes out there at Burning Man, you called the cops on the climate protesters who are blocking the road. And you told the cops that one of the protesters was shooting at cars. So what the cops do, they showed up and rammed the fucking protesters and jumped out holding up guns. Listen, cops love to pull guns on fucking protesters. You didn't have to add to the flyer there, huh, Burning Man? You didn't have to add to the fucking fire, add a little gasoline to the fucking climate protest by screaming that these fucking protesters who were unarmed were being violent. No. Enjoy taking a bunch of Molly while you get trench foot, you piece of shit. I hope while you're paying $20,000 for your fucking RV rental so you can hang out with 3 other guys in fucking Patagonia vests while looking around for white girls with fucking dreadlocks who won't even make fucking eye contact with you. I hope it's fucking worth it by the time you get back to fucking San Francisco to be pulled up on attempted fucking murder charges for calling in a fake 911 call. I hope that's fucking worth it. To the other 69,999 of you, fucking stop building a temporary city in the middle of nowhere while we're in the middle of an unhoused fucking homeless problem. Okay? You know what brings fucking housing prices up? I'm going to tell you something. It's one small thing. I know one of you are going to yell permitting, but I bet you lumber costs aren't fucking helping things when you go and build 20,000 fucking planks of wood in the middle of the goddamn nowhere just to light it on fire so you feel like you're one with the universe. Okay? All right, Stacy?
Ranting away. Yes, it's good. And that's why, I responded to the doctor on Twitter that was like, arrest these guys. I was like, sorry if I was a little rough and called you a dipshit, but you are a serious dipshit if you think that that's funny or think that's cool to encourage people to like arrest, protesters or run them over with your car or get out and drag them off the street. And 1 week later, your car is washed away in a flood. Ha ha. I'll laugh. I'm going to laugh at your fucking ass because you're stupid. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to feel a certain sense of like, told you so. Oops. Now, generally, I don't wish that on anybody. But if you're really just that sure of your stance on this, that you think that, climate protesters should be jailed and or, I don't know, whatever, receive the full brunt of the law, or be run over, be pummeled, be hit, be manhandled, whatever, then, if you're that entrenched in your stupidity, then I guess you just deserve it. And hopefully you'll come around. Hopefully you'll wake up, and hopefully you'll come around to it. Like, oh, well, I guess I was wrong. It's okay to be wrong. It actually is. It's really good for the soul, and it's good for human beings to be wrong, to admit that they're wrong, and change, and do better things. After, I'm wrong. I can do the right thing. I don't have to defend my stupidity, my former stupidity. I can grow and become a better person. That's also completely acceptable. Anyways, what else is happening? I mean, that is just, this is, I really love this post, although I feel like it shouldn't be God won, Burning Man 0. It should be nature won, Burning Man Zero. But we can call, you can call God if you want. Just, I don't know. Are people going to realize that we should probably do something different on this planet? Should people get to the point where they should realize that maybe we should start arranging ourselves differently on this planet? That maybe we're going to start having to chip in and help each other find a better path through whatever's coming towards us, instead of doing the same. I got it all. I got a big old fat bank account. Now I'm just going to go party and have a good time. Maybe that is not serving us well anymore. There was even a fire tornado at Burning Man. Fire tornado at the Burning Man Festival. What? Sorry, can't see that. There's also major flash flooding in Vegas. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but Vegas is, having a hard time. There's really nowhere that's safe. There's nowhere that's like exempt from climate change. And, rest assured, depending on whether you believe it or not, whether you believe in it or not, rest assured, eventually you're going to get slapped around wherever you live. Something is going to happen. You're going to get slapped around. You're going to be forced to leave your home. You're going to be forced to run away. And I'm sure some of the people that don't believe in climate change have already experienced this. I'm actually absolutely positive that there are people out there that are like, yeah, climate change is a hoax, but I had to leave my home because of a tornado several times last year. Tornado warnings. I had to leave my home because, a fire was coming down the mountain last year. I had to leave my home because, et cetera, ... fill in the blank, whatever. I mean, if it serves you to not believe it, and I'm sure that it does on some emotional, denial level. This is this is somebody trying to drive through these floods in Las Vegas. But eventually it's not going to serve you very well to keep on denying it. Eventually it's not going to serve you very well to continue to insist that something isn't happening that is definitely life-threatening. It's absolutely life-threatening to a lot of people, and probably to you, in due time, in short order, it will be life-threatening to you. So I really suggest that you take this seriously and wake the F up and consider the fact that it might be real, so that you can go forward into the future, having a better plan of action in your life. There's more major flooding in Las Vegas. Nowhere is safe. Nobody is safe. Nobody's like exempt from climate change. You are not exempt because you don't believe in it. Spain is also, lots of places in Europe are experiencing very heavy flash flooding or storm activity. This is what it looks like from overhead in Spain. This is some flooding footage from Spain. I feel like I just could play these videos all day. That's not necessarily what I want to do, but this is actually happening. This is in Spain, major flooding. Turkey experiencing major flooding. Georgia experiencing hailstorms. We'll show this. This is from Turkey. Yeah. That looks like fun. That's going to be fun to clean up after. Massive hailstorm. I just mentioned this. This is in Georgia. Not USA, Georgia, the other Georgia. Sorry. Meanwhile, this is happening in Louisiana. More fire tornadoes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's happening. Still, major. The Midwest is dealing with some major heat. Excuse me. South Dakota up to 107 degrees. This is from yesterday. Central, northern, eastern plains are about to live one of the harshest September heat waves in climatic history, and that includes southern Canada. Today, the heat was extraordinary in some areas, especially in South Dakota, with up to 107 Fahrenheit at Winter and Phillip. All right. And there's also... Oop. Did I do this one twice? An article out of The Guardian about the food supply being impacted, basically, by heat and erratic weather. The summer that food went weird. Searing heat reshapes U.S. food production. This week, farmers across the Midwest are preparing for temperatures to reach 115 Fahrenheit as a heat dome covers the region after a tricky growing season that seesawed between drought and unseasonably heavy rains. Many Midwestern farmers worry the extreme heat will scorch or at least stunt their already struggling crops. To say it's been a hot summer would be an understatement. According to NASA scientists, July was the hottest month ever recorded. Off the coast of Florida, surface ocean temperatures soared over 101 Fahrenheit. Bleaching coral reefs in Arizona. Phoenix residents sweated through a record 31 consecutive days above 110 Fahrenheit. Even animals that spend much of their time in the sky, like birds, struggled to keep cool in the sweltering heat. Across much of the country, the food systems also struggled. In Texas, farmers reported smaller yields as their corn and cotton crops struggled to survive soaring summer temperatures, and Arizona beekeepers spotted dead honeybees outside hives. Even underwater off the coast of Long Island, kelp farmers recorded another year of shrinking yields. As extreme heat scorched the oceans, land, and skies, it affected our food system underwater or the ground, on the ground, and in the air. But the ways that it did so were unpredictable. Not every crop suffered, though many certainly struggled, and not every region was affected equally. If there was any takeaway, it might have been that previous scientific models for extreme heat failed to capture the full scope of what heat waves of this magnitude could cause, and that farmers, fishers, and pollinators should be prepared to adapt to an uncertain future. It's really problematic if we use past disasters as the basis for which we plan for the future, says Aaron Coughlin de Perez, a professor focused on climate risk management at Tufts University. The future is not going to be the same as the past. Indeed. And I think there was another article about several looming food crises. Sorry. Sometimes I forget how to speak. It's okay. Where are we? See if I can find this other article here. Oh, here we go. From Fenrir, 5 looming food shortages you need to know about. Food security has become a weighty buzzword splashed across the front page and throughout news articles since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the World Bank, food security is defined when all people at all times have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. Yeah. Have we ever had full food security? I don't think so. Isn't it the wealthy get the food and everybody else has to figure it the F out? Unfortunately, over the past several years, there have been an unprecedented number of threats to this, which continue to pop up left and right, affecting people all across the globe. These threats include things like war and political conflicts, economic changes, disease, and more often than not, climate change and variable weather. Food items that many people depend on, such as wheat and corn, have been in jeopardy, and shortages like this have in some cases led to panic buying and some frantic behavior. Last month, there was some alarm in the United States after a YouTube video shared that the federal government had declared a major food emergency in at least 6 states. According to USA Today, it turns out that these were actually haying and grazing emergencies instead, meaning that because of drought in these areas, grazing would be allowed for livestock on land previously set aside for conservation. All right. You see where we're going with that, right? We're just going to open up the lands previously set aside for conservation in case we need to graze our cattle for the food for us. While there may not be a public emergency currently at play, the world is certainly still dealing with what has been called a global food crisis. There are a slew of food shortages which Americans will likely continue to face into 2024. And they just go on to go through the list. Rice, of course, we know. Pasta, chocolate, salmon. This is interesting. The saying that there are plenty of fish in the sea is starting to lose some of its meaning. Fishermen in both California and Alaska have noticed a steep decline in salmon populations over the past year. With Chinook or king salmon taking the largest hit. This is one of the healthiest and largest salmon species that is commonly found at grocery stores and often served at restaurants here in the United States. According to the Los Angeles Times, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife has said the number of 3-year-old fall-run Chinook likely to return to the Sacramento River this year to spawn would be fewer than 170,000, one of the lowest forecasts in 15 years. And in Alaska, it's more of the same. The reason for the decline likely has to do with warmer waters due to climate change. And this has been happening for years. So I don't know. And I don't know how you make, whole oceans warmer with all the harp rays and whatnot. I mean, maybe. Okay. The reason for the decline likely has to do with warmer waters due to climate change, droughts in California, and factors such as overfishing, pollution, and disease have also been detrimental. So climate change is not just the CO2 or just the warming. Climate change is overfishing, pollution, and disease caused by overfishing and pollution. Do you understand? Sorry. I'm just being weird. Flour also in decline, etc. So it's a whole system problem. It's not just like they're saying it's a CO2. They're saying that it's human beings are messing up the earth. I just don't believe that. All right. Where are we at? All right, we're going to move into some other subjects, but before we do, if you appreciate this channel and would like to support this channel, the best ways: paypal.me/Kevin Sandbloom, Venmo Kevin Sandbloom, Cash App at Red Llama Music, buymeacoffee.com/Black Bear News. If you want to send me a message or donate either by Super Chat or Super Ray or any of these platforms, I will get it at the end of the show and read whatever you got at the end of the show. And I do appreciate everyone who donates to the channel. Really do. Oh, looks like I got a donation. Hello, Obsolete Optics. Thanks, man. Obsolete Optics gave me a really generous donation on PayPal. Thank you, sir. You're the man. I'll check in elsewhere. Thanks, man. Obsolete Optics gave me 100. 100. Thanks. Don't know if there's any messages along with this. Don't think so. All right. Cool. And checking in on Rockfin too. Hello, Rockfinners. Rockfinners. What kind of language are you guys talking in on Rockfin? I don't even know what that is. Or is this like some kind of amalgamation of different words? I don't know. I don't know what you're saying. All right. A few other things I want to cover before we leave. Today, I know we've been talking about masks here and there over the last few days, and there are differing opinions. I know it's okay if you want to wear a mask. That's on you. I know that I can be a little bit judgmental on the wearing of the masks, but listen, on many alternative news platforms, they have been bringing forth the studies that are saying that masks are ineffective, right? And everybody's like, pshaw, no, that's crazy. That's, whatever it is. It's Russian news. It's wrong think. But guess what? Here's CNN referring to the exact same studies that other journalists have referred to about the non-usefulness of masks. Does this make it any more valuable, this information, to you? But listen to this. This is on CNN. of all places, which actually brings into question, in my mind, how actually Poppy Davis, this actually skewers the N95. It actually says they don't work either. This particular study says no to that. I'm just saying that. I'm just repeating what they're saying. This kind of skewers a little bit the whole, everybody's been like, oh, they're going to bring back the mask mandates and the COVID things. And if they're doing this on CNN at this moment, I have a feeling that there's a lot of resistance, a lot of resistance to anything like that. But let's watch this.
Brett Stevens in The Times talked about Cochrane. Put that on the screen. The most rigorous and comprehensive analysis of scientific studies conducted on the efficacy of masks for reducing the spread of respiratory illness, including COVID-19, was published last month. Its conclusions, said Tom Jefferson, the Oxford epidemiologist who is the lead author, were unambiguous. There is just no evidence that masks, make any difference, he told the journalist Mayan Demasi, full stop. But wait, hold on.
Unambiguous.
What about the N95 masks as opposed to the lower quality surgical or cloth masks? Makes no difference. None of it, he said. Well, what about the studies that initially persuaded policymakers to impose mask mandates? They were convinced by non-randomized studies, flawed observational studies. How do we get beyond that finding of that particular review?
Yeah, but there are other studies, Michael, that show at an individual level for individual. When you're talking about the effect.
What is he even saying? What is he even? Fauci just doesn't make any sense. There are other studies that are talking about the individual level. Well, what else are they talking about? What are they talking about? Because they're literally what he's quoting, that study is saying individually for each person wearing a mask, it doesn't do anything for you, even N95s. I'm just saying, I'm playing this because does this make any difference to you if it's on CNN? And yes, there are other health risks with wearing these masks. Increased CO2, and we know that increased CO2 brings down brain function, right? And when you wear these masks for a long time, it traps CO2 close to your face. So you're inhaling more CO2 as opposed to oxygen, right? And that is detrimental to your health. And then there's also the fabric, what is it that's in they use some chemicals in the making of the masks that are also bad for you. So just saying, I'm just playing this just for your edification. And Fauci just saying some mumbo jumbo that doesn't make any. Oh, there are some other studies that say individually. What individually? Yeah, well that's who wears a mask. An individual. They wear an individual mask on their individual face, sir. Like, what are you talking about? If it makes you feel better, go wear it. But just saying, it's not doing anything for you. My problem with it, and I'll be honest, my problem is that it actually encourages a mind state. It encourages a behavior that is actually detrimental to people, right? So when people are like, oh, put your mask on, and you don't have your mask on, you're being mean, and you're a bad person because you're not wearing a mask. You follow this rule, the rules that are based on not science. So it's encouraging this like group think that is actually very dangerous for people. That's why I don't like it. That's why I resist it, and that's why I say the things I say about it. Not because I don't care whether you want to wear a mask or not, but it makes me angry because it's not based in science, and it encourages like unhealthy behavior. That's my issue with it. Anyways, hold on one second. You want the link to the video? Poppy? Hold on. Hold on. Because the video itself doesn't have. Let's see. This is from the New York Times that the mask mandates did nothing. Will any lessons be learned? So I don't know if you want to search that. I'm sorry. I'm going to show it on the screen. So they're quoting from this article, the New York Times. The mask mandates did nothing. Why will any lessons be learned? So that's what they're quoting from, and they're quoting from a study from I guess Tom Jefferson was part of the study. Tom Jefferson, an Oxford epidemiologist who was a lead author of this study. So I guess there's some search words for you, Poppy. Hold on one second. Here's the this is from February 2023. Here's the New York Times link. I can't open it, but I'll put it in the chats if you want it. Oh, you got it? You got it. Good. All right. It's pretty easy to find. I did a pretty quick search. Anyways, I'm just posting that for your consideration. Also, here's another post that makes me think we've already gone too far in the direction of, maybe the vaccine mandates and mask mandates weren't really helpful. We've already gone, it's too, to get everybody to get on board with the whole thing, the COVID thing. Like, it actually took a lot of energy, and there was a lot of momentum behind it. And that's why people still believe in these things, because the momentum carries them forward. But there's so much now momentum in the other direction of like, I don't think that was right. So that if they try to bring these things back, there's too much momentum going in the opposite direction. So they're going to have a difficult time bringing things back that people have already realized, like, oh, yeah, not so much, as evidenced by the CNN video. Right? The CNN video is a really great example of too much momentum going in the opposite direction, in the direction of, all this information was actually wrong and we shouldn't have done the things that we've done. Right? And trying to bring that back now is going to be really difficult. So, to the people that are the powers that be that might be listening to this, don't think so. I wouldn't try it. I just wouldn't even try it, because I don't think it's going to work. Sorry. But this is the new New Zealand Prime Minister, Chris Hipkins. He's giving people some double speak on vaccine mandates, but he's walking back the vaccine mandate. He's walking things back. He's saying, well, we didn't mandate any vaccines, and if you took them of your own accord, which is not true. So this looks bad. This is a bad stance to take, but we'll play this.
Early next year, we'll be in the phase of chasing up people who haven't come forward to get their vaccination or have missed their bookings and so on. So everyone will be able to get a vaccine between now and the end of the year. But of course, and I want every New Zealander to come forward, but human behaviour suggests that there will be some people that we have to actually really go out and look for, and some of that may spill into next year. But our commitment is everyone will have the opportunity to get the vaccine by the end of the year. Everyone will, but I can't say that, that we're not going to have some hesitant people or some people who just haven't come forward that we don't have to go out and find next year. In terms of the vaccine mandates, I acknowledge that it was a challenging time for people, but they ultimately made their own choices. There was no compulsory vaccination. People made their own choices. I think early next year we'll be in the phase of chasing up people.
It really doesn't sound like it was very. The options were freedom, right? No, we're gonna make sure you get vaccinated. And of course, remember that the vaccines are super safe and effective. Always remember. Never forget. This is a wild video. I have also been talking over the last few days about how Biden is more fascist than Trump. Here is an actual fascist telling you that Biden is a better fascist than Trump is. They've been talking about these guys, the what are they called? Blood Tribe. These guys are literal Nazis, right? And they're like protesting in Florida. And this guy says Biden's better than Trump because he sends rockets to Ukraine.
Christopher, there's a presidential race going on right now. Are you going to vote in 2024? What do you think's going to happen?
My vote is useless. I think Biden's better than Trump because he sends rockets to Ukraine.
What?
In support of Ukraine, you mean?
Hell Ukraine, hell Asia.
Tell me this, Christopher.
If I just say get fucking dreidel, you fucking revolt slave! Slava Ukraine!
You're like Skullface from Marvel.
Boneface.
Boneface, sorry.
I'm Boneface.
What inspired you to kind of tattoo up like this?
Ukraine.
Christopher, there's a president.
I mean, a lot of, people are also saying these are feds, undercover feds, but I don't know, Sure. I'm positive there's some undercover feds in there, but the dude with the tattoos, the entire face tattooed, probably not a fed. I'm guessing. These are literal Nazis saying Biden's the guy. Why is he the guy? Because he supports fascism. He supports the Nazis in Ukraine. He's sending yeah. Anyways. Just further evidence that you might have actually voted for some extra fascism when you voted to vote out fascism. You might have actually said, can I have another helping of fascism? Here's Macron being like extra fascist and colonialists. These guys can't hide. I mean, they're just... Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not going to play this one. Excuse me. I'll come back with that one later. But they are... I'm not going to play that clip, but we know that France is doing kind of horrible things to Niger and Burkina Faso. They're trying to keep them under their control in order to keep their the availability of resources under control, right? They're doing the imperialist, shuffle. That's what they're doing. And that is also super democratic, super liberal, no, it's not. It's actually the opposite of that. It's literally fascism. All right, I'm about to wrap up the show here. I didn't really get to everything that I wanted to cover. But I'm going to take this call from Joseph real quick before we end the show. Joseph, how you doing?
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just sorry. You were quiet. Now you're loud.
Oh,
No, you're good. It was on my end, not your end.
okay. I just wanted to help you out with the mask thing.
The mask thing? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I posted in the chat on Call-In the isothermal equations
Okay.
that are the thermodynamic, that represent the thermodynamic physics that are in charge of how viruses and other things that are nano size move around in the atmosphere.
Okay.
And to a virus, a mask, no matter N95 or whatever, it's like a ghost cloud that it goes right through. And
Yeah.
the tests that they do are observable tests, so they're observing things that are molecular size and above, which a virus is millions of times smaller.
Yeah, and there's a ton of videos. I mean, I guess I could have played one of those videos, and I probably should have. But there's a bunch of like explanatory videos that show you the size of different particles that could or could not go through a mask, and a virus is much smaller than most, right?
Way down, yeah, and it has to do with pressure, heat, and if you think of the atmosphere, just because you don't see molecules like moisture clouds,
Right.
it's full of moisture,
Right.
and we breathe it in and breathe it out, and the viruses they adjust to that isometrically. So by ratio, if there's less virus in this zone than this zone, they're all rushing to the place that there's nothing because there's room for them. And to them, the atmosphere is an ocean with current.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all.
It's good. Thank you. Thanks for the clarification and the analogy. Yeah. Yeah, they don't, I mean, and somebody brought up, yesterday, I think in the comments or the chat somewhere, wearing a mask during like fire, if there's fire, and that might, if the particles are bigger, it might help you.
Absolutely. They help with,
they're not going to help for the
wear 'em.
smaller particles. There are smaller, right? Like, again.
Well, look at the movie Andromeda, the Andromeda strain. Look what they prepared for viruses with those suits.
Right.
Because there's little you can do.
Right.
And even then, you're likely to get, at some point, you're talking stuff that you have to put in a vacuum chamber just to be certain. Pretty much. Yeah. You're not wrong.
Yeah, and and again, I'm not. I feel like I'm being super critical, or maybe people are taking what I'm saying about it, personally, or like or might even be a little bit offended by it. But again, the purpose of me bringing this up is that I think it encourages behavior that's not helpful, right?
I agree.
So it's like, yes, totally. If you want to wear a mask for your protection, that's fine. Just know that it's not protecting you. And B, when you start getting into the moral judgments around the masks, and that's the problem. That's the problem. I have, right? When people are like, well, start putting the masks on, they start like donning the masks, and everybody's like, well, should I put a mask on? Because I don't want to be the bad person. I don't want to feel like I'm, not doing my part, right? And all that kind of stuff, all the psychological stuff that goes along with it, I feel like is the issue for me. So when I see people driving around by themselves in their car with a mask on, or jogging with a mask on, or just anybody in the store with a mask on, I get really like aggravated, because I'm just like, stop it. Stop the madness before it starts,
I'm perturbed because I don't understand why people are so resistant to learning beyond what they're at to know for sure one way or the other. I mean, if you can't explain it to yourself or someone else, then what are you doing?
Right. And it's hard. And it's also hard because there have been official entities that have told you, do this thing because it's supposed to be good for everybody, right? And that is hard.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to get around. Can't get on a plane without a mask, or you can't, go into the store without a mask. And that got really difficult for me after a while. At first I was like, oh, screw it, put on a mask. But after it became apparent that it was ridiculous and useless, and they like took the mask mandate away, and then they put it back, and then they took it away and put it back, I was like, every time I felt like I had to put a mask on to go in the store, I was like incensed. I was just like, oh, I'm not going to do this.
I feel the same. I've been publicly shamed by family members,
right,
for not wearing a mask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
and funny aside, I was watching the movie The Big Short, which is a great movie. I've watched it several times, but it's really funny because there's a scene where Ben Rickert, which is with Brad Pitt's character, who's supposed to be like the super doomer, right? He's this kind of he's a prepper guy. He's kind of a former trader who turned prepper, but he comes down the staircase in New York with a painter's mask on. I was like, I laughed because of this like stupid like 10-cent painter's mask. I was like, yeah, okay. It was it was 2015, so pre what we know about masks these days, but like, it was just hilarious and definitely symbolic, right? His wearing the mask down the stairs was like completely symbolic.
Completely.
But Anyways, all right. I got to wrap up the show, but thanks for calling in, Joseph.
Thank you. See you later.
Take it easy. All right, y'all. Just checking in. Making sure I didn't get any coffees in the last few minutes. Where is my? Hold on one second. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get here. Hope they don't make me log in again. Oh, they're going to make me log in. Jesus. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Oh, this may not be optimal. But that's all, you know. I think there is a growing understanding from people that they've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, misled, led astray by the powers that be. And so it's just like, you know, just because it's an official directive or an official decree does not necessarily mean that there's science or your well-being, the intention of your well-being behind it. I hope people are getting clear on that. I know it's hard to think, you know, it's safe to think, it feels safe and feels good to think that, oh, these, you know, the smart people in charge are only doing the good things for the people, and they're in charge because they're the good people. I know it's safer to think that. But it's probably a good time to disabuse yourself of that notion. Because generally the good people are not in charge. Oh, crap. I can't even find this thing. If somebody sent me a coffee, I appreciate you. I'll get you tomorrow. I got logged out of it. But thanks, everyone, for joining in today. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks, everybody who supports. I appreciate you. And tomorrow, I don't know if I'm going to be here. It is a holiday. I think I'm going to be hanging out with my people, and so I don't think I will be here tomorrow, guys. I will see you on Tuesday. Okay, we will resume at the regular hour, and until next time, peace and enjoy your day off tomorrow.